Welcome in everyone to Bet, Win, Repeat. I'm your host, Hannah Mears. You can follow me on my social media platforms at Mears Hannah. And don't forget to download the new Picks Parlays app available on all mobile device platforms. This show in particular is a place where you can get a ton of sports content. And oh, do we have a lot to talk about today. So hang with us here because we have a ton of major headlines to talk about. But if you're interested in any contests that we have going on Picks and Parlays, head over to our Picks and Parlays Facebook group page. So join the PNP contest page right there at this banner, gives you all the information, and you can join weekly and monthly contests. Just placing some bets, one bet a day, seeing last man standing kind of feel, and win some money as well. Also, don't forget, heading over to our website is super beneficial right now because you can use promo code MLB and get 20% off the entire site to get a ton of premium picks from our cappers. All right, it's time to bring in my first guest, Terry. We're going to bring in Terry because we have a lot to talk about, especially when it comes to hockey and baseball, right? Two of the prime things happening right now. We'll get to NBA playoffs a little bit later when I'm bringing in Cam. We also got some XFL to talk about. But first and foremost, let's talk about something you seem to be a bit passionate about today. The New York Yankees being some big fat cheaters. And I know there's a ton of people out there right now who are reveling in this. And you are one of them because the Yankees are, a historical team. They're supposed to be the best of the best. They've got a guy like Aaron Judge, and there is some hello drama going on because yesterday, Domingo German was ejected after some sticky residue was found on his fingertips. And it was given away too because it was a black-like residue that was wiped on his white pants. So I don't know how stupid you have to be to cheat with something like that. However, you might as well just give your girlfriend the phone and tell her you've been texting somebody else if you're going to make it that obvious. So, Terry, I need all of your thoughts and feelings about the Yankees right now because I know it's been boiling inside of you.
Well, I'm a Blue Jays fan, so I don't try to hide it. I will say, though, I was not on the Blue Jays yesterday. The price was just, they were way too big of a favorites for that spot. However, they only really got to hit for 6 innings.
Mhm.
Those three first innings should not count, really, because Germán was tossed from the game. He deserves at least a 10-game suspension, which is most likely what he's going to get in this one. And I see a lot of Yankees fans saying the black tar was chewing tobacco, and it was only after he got knocked out that he had that on. And there's excuses and excuses and
But it
excuses.
was a very specific place that it was, right? Like when you
Yeah.
see pictures like Armand wipe his fingers, between
The
pitches.
umpires touched his hand, and the umpire said that is the most stickiest hand he's ever touched on the mound. So
Yeah,
there we
shots
go.
fired, Yankees fans. Get Germán out of there, and he was, and rightfully so. If you are supposedly supposed to be this team with so much depth and then a great bullpen, and you could tell they were struggling for a little bit. So now you're seeing desperation mode kick in, which is why I think this is even more obvious that something was going on. If the Yankees had been doing really well and nothing was really going on, you would think, okay, maybe it was the chewing tobacco. This team hasn't done anything. But they were struggling in desperation mode. So I think it makes it more obvious that something else was going on. These guys are getting just a bit too desperate.
Plus, this is not his first time this has happened.
Mm-hmm.
Against the Minnesota Twins earlier this year, he was told to go wash his hands, and he was allowed to stay in the game. Rocco Baldelli freaked out. There's videos of it. He freaked out at the umpire saying, "Why is he still in the game? He's cheating," and now he's caught again. So I guess he thought he got away with it the first time. Why not try again? But that didn't go too well yesterday.
The best part about this too, of people saying it was chewing tobacco, when you look at his thumb, he puts his hand like on his waist when he gets over to the dugout, and the back of his thumb wipes something. You don't put chewing tobacco in with your thumb. So there was a lot of
Yeah.
Yankees fans trying to save face, but if you look at the several videos, something's not adding up. So clearly, that's leaving some question marks. But one of the best, and Garrett Cole will be starting tonight when you look ahead to the Yankees and Jays series that's going on. He has had a 5.2 shutout innings against the Blue Jays last month. Do you take under 8 in this because Cole's on the mound, or do all things considered of how things have been going with baseball this season, you look toward the over, or is there another bet that you think would be better in this one?
Well, I do have a play up on the site in this game, so I don't really want to go over it too much. the actual play. But with Garrett Cole, he has struggled against the Jays, but then he's not struggled against the Jays. So his overall record looks good. It depends who he's facing. I'm really hoping that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is in the lineup because he has really, really good numbers against Cole. But did look like he got injured in the last night's game, so I don't expect him to play. But I'm big on player props today. I will say it's picks and parlays, and I did cash a 14 game parlay yesterday, plus 9,116,
All
all
right.
player props. So I look at my player props each day, and I do parlay them all together. Yesterday, I got all 14 right, so I cashed a nice player prop parlay.
What was one of your
I've
biggest
lost
player parlays on there? Like, give us two of your parlays that were on there that, you or two of the bets that were in your parlay that you were a little bit nervous about, but ended up hitting.
Gurriel Jr. was the final guy for me to get, and he hit a home run. So I was watching it, and I was going to go to bed, and I'm like, oh, I just need him for it. So I thought I'd watch, and I saw him hit the home run, which cashed the parlay. And there was another one, Ahmed Rosario, who didn't get a hit all game long. I thought I lost. I thought it was over, but they reviewed. The Guardians asked for a video review, and it was determined that he was safe. He was not out. So I was that
Very
close to
close.
losing, but it was a hit, so I won. So it was a great day yesterday. But I do have a lot of player props today. There's two that are sticking out for me that I really want to talk about because I don't want to list them all. But yeah, if that's okay,
Heck yeah, we'll send
let's
everyone over to picksandparlays.net. Use promo code MLB, get that 20% off so you can view all of Terry's picks. Plus, we'll have free picks up later on our YouTube page. So make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on our YouTube page so you don't miss out on any of those premium picks that we have going up and free picks as well. Moving over to another series that's intriguing to me, the Rays and the Mets. The Mets are the favorite in this one. Do you ride with the Rays on the money line because of how good they've been after the Rays won 8-5 yesterday? Is there value in going over? How are you leaning in this game?
This one's a tough one for me as well. Senga against Fleming. I can't. Tampa Bay is obviously playing. I can't go against them. I
Mhm.
can't go against them, and I can't back the Mets right now. So yeah, if I was making a play in that game, it would be on Tampa Bay. As much as I'd rather not see them win, they just continue to win games. Um, if the Mets were going to win any game, it would have been yesterday, I would think.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I agree. I think right now the Mets are obviously a little more the favorite because they're at home, but I would think that would be one of the only reasons they're the favorite. You don't get to be the favorite after losing by 3 runs yesterday as well against a team like Tampa Bay, who is clearly making a run as the best team in the league. So that one to me is screaming a little bit lean toward the Rays at the moment. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on some of the MLB games happening right now. I know we have Lenny's Detroit Tigers about to play my Pittsburgh Pirates again for a second game. And man, this has been tough to watch. As someone who works for the Pirates, as someone who is a Pirates fan, who I feel like they've started off so hot in the beginning of the season that now this little slump is feeling even worse than it would have, because had they have started out like this, people wouldn't be as upset. But because they had such a good start, now everyone's so upset. I don't think that this is a depiction of what this team is. I think those 20 games that they won earlier in the season is a better depiction of who they can be. But I think they are in such an offensive slump right now that they really need a good game today. They need to just have a decent game. They don't need to be crushing the ball out of the park. They need to be getting some RBIs tallied, because that's been their biggest fault, not being able to score with guys on base. But that being said, the starting pitching needs to help them out. You can't get your offense coming into bat already down 4-0. You're giving the other team so much more momentum. So what is your thought on that? Not particular that game, but how teams struggling in a funk right now, where can we see them go? How do they fix
I'll
this?
briefly
How do
talk
they
about Pittsburgh. I loved making money on Pittsburgh in the beginning half of the
Mhm.
season. They were money makers. Now, obviously, as you said, things are not going too well, but luckily they're still in a good position in the standing. So it could be a lot worse.
They're in
Um,
a they're in a a weak division, which is why the standings are good. But you know what? We'll take it where we can get it. But yeah, I agree. It's hard to say where they can go. I think maybe if there was another solid starting pitcher down the line, I think that's what they're missing. But right now they've got to get a guy or two in the lineup to be able to finish off the guys on base, because this has been a really big struggle to watch, especially when you have guys like a Santana or a Reynolds who are consistently hitting either doubles, getting on base. Connor Joe had a great on base percentage for a while, but no one can bat them in, and that's been the struggle. So we'll see where that can go. I need you to give us a little bit of playoff hockey preview here, Terry, because we've got game ones coming up, Panthers and Hurricanes. The Hurricanes are the best defensive team in the league. I'm confident in saying that. And then you have the Panthers, who are clearly probably one of the best offensive teams in the league right now. So you have a great defensive and offensive battle. Where are you leaning when you look toward this matchup?
I think this is an extremely tough series.
Mhm.
Um, Honestly, I'm not going to have very many plays. I do have a free pick coming, so stay tuned on the channel
Give us
for
a, give us
tomorrow.
a little bit of a sizzle. What kind of free pick is this? Is this a prop bet? Is this
It's
a
a
side
player
bet?
prop.
Okay.
Normally, I can't do player props because they usually come out the day of. But because the game's happening tomorrow and they already have lines up, I have a very nice player prop for that game, and I don't want to give it out here, so keep people
Well,
to keep watching. But the video
absolutely.
will be up in the morning.
Stars and Knights played 3 years ago during that COVID bubble situation. Dallas won the series in game 5. But the Golden Knights, they're the third team in NHL history to advance to the round before the Stanley Cup final at least 4 times in their first 6 seasons. So they've really got something going here now. They did get like the creme de la creme when they got to go and handpick some guys to help with this. So that could be a reason. But what are your immediate thoughts when you think about a matchup like the Stars and the Knights?
I think Tim says it well. I think Tim says it well. Oh, I pushed it, Lenny. Sorry, Lenny. Go Knights, go! Vegas for the cup. I'm not going to say that Vegas is going to win the cup, but I do, and it's going to look like I've been against Dallas every series, and people are going to say, "Oh, they beat Minnesota, so you want them to lose." That is not correct. Seattle fell short, um, 1 goal away from
Mhm.
tying the game in Game 7. Vegas, though, um, people have underestimated Vegas because of their goaltending, which is not good. Uh, but their offense is good. They beat Edmonton in 6 games. Now they're coming here to face Dallas. I like Vegas in the series. I think they win in most likely 6 games.
Yeah,
Um,
I
I
agree
just
with
like
that.
their offense better.
Yeah, I like what you said too about how we talked about the Kraken. Like it seems like that Dallas just snuck through, because a team that we talked about a lot was the Kraken. And I feel like we rarely touched on Dallas at all. So I do think they kind of snuck through there. So if you're looking for a team, Vegas is probably the better one. I know Terry has so many picks up on our site. He's going to have free picks later. So make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss that. Free picks will be up later. So you don't want to miss out on any of those. And don't forget to head over to picksandparlays.net. Use promo code MLB, saves you 20% off of the entire site. Terry, thank you for stopping by and for your insight. It is always appreciated.
No problem. Quickly, let me give out my favorite 2 player props of the day
Oh,
in
we're going to
baseball
get
today.
some. Look, you were hiding all of these. You kept saying everyone has to go to the site. Everyone has to
Yeah,
go to
yeah,
the.
yeah. Except the player props because don't have player props in the site. But
Okay, he wants to
I did
brag.
want to
He's
mention
like, I feel really good about these. So go ahead, put them out there. Let's see it.
they both play for the same team. So if you can same game parlay, do that. If not, parlay it with whatever else you like. Philadelphia Phillies, JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto hitting 412 over the last 7 days, 337 against righties. He's 5 for 7 against Stripling, so hitting 714. Bryce Harper, 333 over the last 7 days, hitting 500 against righties this year, and he's 6 for 10, hitting 600 against Stripling. I don't have a side play in that game, but really tempted on the total. But I like Real Muto and Harper. Fingers crossed they're both in the lineup. I like them both to get a hit today.
Well, if they are in the lineup, add that to a parlay. Maybe you've got a multi-leg parlay going on out there. To all of our listeners, add those into that and up your odds and make some money. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate you for sharing just a little bit of what's going on in your head betting wise. So thank you for stopping by and doing that.
No problem. Have a good one.
You too. This is Bet Win Repeat. This is our show with a ton of sports content going on. I have another guest coming in today, but I also want to tell everybody, don't forget today, midnight, tonight, Beers with Mirrors is coming out. So this is with Trevor Sikkema. He is a lead analyst for college and NFL football content, essentially at Pro Football Focus. He is featured on a ton of different NFL shows like Good Morning Football throughout the year. So he is a very credible source for a ton of football information. We have talked everything from his thoughts on Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers to the longevity of Derek Carr's career and what could be or could not be down in New Orleans, to talking about the Steelers and Kenny Pickett being a top 10 quarterback. So many different football topics hitting on a ton of your different teams. And I would love for you guys to tune into that. It will not disappoint. He is so thorough and informational in everything he says. So Beers with Mirrors tonight at midnight. Tune in. It'll be live on Picks and Parlays YouTube page as well as Spotify. So make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you do not miss when Beers with Mirrors comes out. Now it's time to bring in Cam the Man. Cam Ross is coming in to talk to me. And there is a huge headline going on right now in the NBA. And that is the fact that the Sixers have just fired, let go, cut him off, got rid of Doc Rivers. And you seem to be a fan of this, considering after the third straight exit in the Eastern Conference Finals, they parted ways.
Yeah, I said to several of my friends in this series, in Game 6, when they lost, when they let Tatum, figure it out in the fourth quarter of Game 6, he outscored the Celtics. Outscored the Sixers. I started telling everybody, if the Sixers lose this series, Doc is out of here. He's gone, because Doc has lost the most Game 7s ever.
10. Yep.
It's something
five more than any other coach. 5 more than any other coach.
And it's something like 8 or 9. I don't know the number. I don't have the number in front of me. Straight potential closeout games he's lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I was even listening to Matt Barnes and JJ Redick on the way to where I am right now. My kids had a school tour. That's where I'm at right now. Both Matt Barnes and JJ Redick both played for Doc in their tenure within the league, and both of them say his lack of in-game adjustments are horrendous. And I mean, mind you, the MVP, the former MVP, played terrible, to say it lightly, in Game 6 and especially in Game 7. And then they tried to say, we can't win alone. But Tyrese Maxey became a star in that series. Tobias Harris shot the ball well. PJ Tucker scored 11 points, I think, in the first quarter of Game 7. That's 11 points from PJ Tucker is free money. And they were up 10 in the first half. They were down 3 at the half, tied the game in the first minute, and then just all hell broke loose. And Doc just stood over there, had no clue. They asked Doc after the game, "Are you going to come back?" And he said, "Yeah, I think I got 2 years left." Well, you don't. It's over. Doc, I'm not saying Doc's a terrible coach, but when the lights get bright, Doc struggles. And
all I'm saying is a team like the Lakers against the Nuggets last night, who looked extremely unmatched in the first half of that game, came out with second half adjustments and left the Nuggets on the edges of their seat at home, a team who has not lost in the playoffs. That's called second half adjustments. Yeah, the 76ers struggled with that tremendously. But how much of this responsibility also falls on a guy like James Harden, right? James Harden did not step up in these playoffs at all. Now, I know he had 2 games where he scored 40-plus points, but if you are capable of putting up 40-plus points, then you should at least be dropping 20 in the other games. Not a 9-point game, not a 13-point game, not a 12-point game. And then on top of that, it's not like he's having a tremendous success underneath getting rebounds or all these assists. Like, those are single or low double-digit margins as well. So at what point do we blame James Harden for a little bit of this?
James Harden is to blame. And like you said, James Harden, several times in this series, he flirted with a triple single. Yeah, he had 40. Was it 42? 40. He had 40 plus in game 1.
At one point, I think.
40. He had 40 plus in game 1.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
Mm-hmm.
In game 1, no matter what happens, there's at least 3 games left. Game 6, at the house, a chance to put it away, a ghost. Game 7, fighting for your life, an even bigger ghost. And now it's been announced he wants to opt out of 34, 35 million because he wants to try to secure a longer term deal. I think, he keeps saying he wants to go to a contender, or he wants to go somewhere, this and that, where he can be a leader. They keep saying Houston. I think he's going to try to go to Phoenix. He's going to try. I think James Harden, and James Harden's like 34, which is not old in real life, but as a professional athlete, you age in dog years.
Mm-hmm.
I think Harden's won a scoring title. He's been an All-Star. He's made All NBA. He's been the MVP. I think Harden is fixing to start ring chasing. Because Harden...
But why can't he ring chase in Philly? They had the pieces to do that.
It's too hard.
In the division he's in?
No, it's just there's too much weight on his shoulders. He has to be...
He wants to go be under the radar, is what you're saying. He wants to go hide below a Devin Booker, KD kind of
KD, go play next to Steph. Go play next to LeBron. Mm-hmm. Try to find his way on the Nuggets type stuff. I think because James Harden is still going to play in the league for several more years. He's still going to score a bunch of points. He's still going to hit shots. He's still going to have his explosive games. But he's not the same guy anymore, and, that happens. But I really think he's going to start headhunting, and, James Harden has made his money. He signed a $200 million Adidas contract several years ago. He's made tons of money in the league. The money isn't the issue anymore. He wants the ring. He wants the ring. He wants the ring. He wants the ring. Because there's so many guys who get all these individual accolades, but, you can't carry your MVP trophy around. You can't carry your All-NBA stuff around. You can wear your ring, and he wants the ring.
Absolutely.
And I think he's going to start chasing the ring.
Yeah, I agree. Tim making a good point. Does Phoenix even have anything left at this point to trade or enough salary cap?
Well, that's to go on to what I'm saying with Tim, Harden wants a long-term deal.
Mm-hmm. So he doesn't necessarily want a ton of money straight up.
No, he just wants to sit down somewhere and have a chance at a ring.
Nor does he have, at this moment, the right to go and demand a ton of money for what he just did in the playoffs. He does not have that right.
No, but I'm not going to throw other names because we're not talking about them, but James Harden is an elite basketball player. Once upon a time he was probably the best scorer in the league. He was top 10 guy, but James Harden unfortunately has always been a really, really heavy regular season player. He's an 82 games guy. Late April, May, June, nope, not interested.
Which I think I would be concerned if I'm a team like Phoenix, who knows the potential we have in the playoffs, to add a guy to the team like James Harden, who's not going to then perform at that level, right? Instead of adding someone who could be a potential playoff threat.
Yeah, exactly. See, Phoenix, they need more than one guy.
Right.
Because Phoenix's whole bench is in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And if they pay James Harden, 3 years, 22 million, 18 million, whatever, with that type of contract, you could sign 2 guys, maybe a third guy, maybe like 2 guys, and then like a vet minimum type thing. But Phoenix doesn't have to trade for it because he is going to opt out and he is going to be looking to sign. A lot of people say he's going to go to Houston. I also read the other day, and I sent it to my friend Ron because he completely despises Mike D'Antoni. There's the rumor mill that Mike D'Antoni may go to Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, I can see Harden staying. Mm-hmm. Because Harden he said he wants the opportunity to play free basketball. And in my head, that means I want to do whatever I want and have no repercussions.
100%.
And D'Antoni let him do that for all those years in Houston. And D'Antoni would let him do that. But, I don't know. Harden really folded up. And I know there's a guy behind the camera right now that doesn't think the MVP should have gone to Philadelphia, the MVP should have gone to that giant in Denver.
Absolutely,
for the third time in a row.
Especially after the game we had last night, which I want to get to. I really do quickly, though, want to answer one of our guest questions in here talking about Doc Rivers and does it not mean anything that he even got to these game 7? How many still have jobs that have not done there? I believe this time it's because of the lack of what Cam said, the lack of coaching started to show through. It wasn't the fact that he got to these game 7s and they just played really good teams. The lack of the coaching adjustments showed through, as well as the fact that you have the talent to do it and still we're falling through each time. It's not that, oh, this guy went there. Like if you have a team like Phoenix at this point who they lose fine because they took a risk to send half their bench out there. So you could say it technically wasn't their time, but a team like Philly was the team that was supposed to go through. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what's your take on
that? Philly, Boston, Phoenix, Milwaukee, the Lakers, the Warriors, they get participation trophies to get into the playoffs. These are all teams, no matter what, they're going to play in April.
Mm-hmm.
And Philly, Milwaukee, I know Giannis got hurt. Philly, Phoenix, Denver, teams like that, just solely off the muscle, are going to get through to the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of who you have the MVP. Embiid was the scoring champion last year. Harden was a former MVP and scoring champion. PJ Tucker has a ring. Tyrese Maxey's become a star. Tobias Harris can shoot the ball. They have depth. They have talent. They have multiple guys at multiple spots. They can guard multiple positions. They have the talent to win games. But when talent meets talent, like what just happened, that's where the coach has to figure it out.
Right.
And Doc Rivers, and I'm not at all saying Joe Mazzulla is the coach of the year, but Doc Rivers lost to a 34-year-old rookie head coach.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, Jason Tatum scored 3 points in the first, second, and third quarter of Game 6. And the final 5 quarters of that series, Jason Tatum had 67 points, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Bro.
A part of that's coaching. A big part of that was telling Tatum where to go and what to do and how to schematically get to the good positions he needs to be in. So yes, Doc Rivers was outcoached. So to answer your question, that was lovely. Thank you for sending us questions. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, Game 7s are fantastic. Getting to the next round is fantastic. Getting to this round is fantastic. But like Monty Williams with the Suns, the last 2 years, they've been eliminated and they've been blasted.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't like the last possession. Like, no, the game was over with like 7 minutes left in the third quarter. They were blasted.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was fired too.
Absolutely.
But like Doc has had so much talent. The Clippers teams were so talented.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't get over the hump. Even pre-Golden State, they couldn't get over the hump. Doc has all this talent in the East. The MVP, a former MVP, a rising star, can't get over the hump.
Yep.
It's an issue.
It's an issue. And clearly the issue has been resolved at this point. We'll see what the Sixers team looks like next year. But a guy we've been dying to talk about, Nikola Jokic, my God. The Nuggets and Lakers last night, if you weren't watching it, you missed out. Toward the end of the game, I was like falling asleep, so tired, but like struggling. I was keeping my eyes open. I was like, this is the most electric thing I have ever seen. The Lakers looked severely undermatched in the first half and came back and made it it looked like we were watching the NBA finals for how hard these teams were playing, how much we saw in the fact of scoring. AD and Jokic both like couldn't stop each other necessarily and were making such a huge impact, like 40 ball out there. But I don't even know how to go back and really put this game into a summary because it was absolutely electric. LeBron James is willing this team to be competitive, and the Nuggets are absolutely no joke. And Jokic is why. And the fact that he isn't the MVP is a joke. But as Tim said, the MVP of the NBA Finals potentially. Absolutely. So give me all of your thoughts from last night's rally of a game.
Joker had 30, 19, and 12 after 3 quarters. after 3 quarters. He had 8 points and 11 rebounds in the first 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Darvin did make a good adjustment with Rui because Aaron Gordon was in the dunker spot. Aaron Gordon doesn't need to be in the dunker spot.
Mm-mm.
And for anybody who doesn't know that, that's roaming the baseline or close to the basket because that allows AD to come over and help. And it wasn't so much Hachimura on Jokic. He did do well, but AD being able to help everything is what helped spark the run in the second half. But also at the very same time, to me, it looked like the Nuggets were just in cruise control.
Fair.
The Lakers were making a furious run, and the Nuggets seemed to be going through the motions. I'm not taking anything away from the Lakers, but they'd cut it to 8, KCP, splash. They'd get it back, they'd get it to 7, bing, bing, and 1, back to 10. And then, it got close. They got to 3, but there was never any nothing. There was never any, oh my God.
Fair, but the way Jokic was playing was I guess I agree with that because I think the way Jokic is playing is why you could look at that and say they weren't in cruise control because he never let off the gas from start to finish. But he might have been the only one who never eased up just a bit because the Lakers, here's what did end up hurting the Nuggets a little bit was those fouls and letting the Lakers get those opportunities at the foul lines. And more than anything, when they're fouling the Lakers, you're slowing the game down. And that's what the Lakers were trying to do.
Yep.
And anytime there is now a bet on Reeves from 3, he shot 9 last night, was fantastic. They're getting him the ball so much. LeBron going to get his averages, if you're looking at it based off of last game, if we're talking about betting moving forward. The Nuggets at home, probably a solid bet still. Bet on Jokic, everything at this
bet
point.
Bet on Jokic to score a touchdown if you can.
Right at this point. What are some of your bold predictions going forward in that series?
Jokic is going to hit 2 home runs in game 2. I don't know. It's crazy. I know Tim blindly. Jokic triple-double every game. But the Nuggets are good. I'm not taking anything away from the Lakers. The Nuggets jumped out and they punched them in the mouth. And I don't think the Lakers can start that lineup. They started 3 point guards, 3 actual point guards, Schroeder, D'Lo, and Reeves. And it was the Nuggets are deeper, but the Nuggets are big.
Yeah.
And they're big all over. Michael Porter 6'10", Aaron Gordon 6'9", Jamal Murray 6'5". Jokic looks 9 feet tall when he gets going.
And they made the Lakers look smaller last night. They made those guys not even just in height, in width and muscle and everything. You had men versus college kids. It looked like is what the matchup looked like on the floor from just a spectator's point of view. And then it really did show. So I would even expect the Nuggets to come out and utilize that size more in game 2 to make sure there's a bigger gap because I think there's a way to do that against the Lakers.
Yep. And see, to me, with Schroeder, with Dennis starting, who's the Lakers guard off the bench? I'm really asking.
Last night?
No, I'm asking, who's going to be that offensive guard spark off the bench if they have Dennis starting?
Right.
Because Vanderbilt didn't play well last night. Rory played really well last night. But even in, that goes back to him having the help with AD, but Rory made shots. Austin Reeves made shots. But see, at the very same time, Austin Reeves shot the leather off the ball.
Right.
And not taking anything away from him because his journey's been crazy to this point.
Well, think about it. If they start Schroeder, really the only one maybe you're going to rely on Walker, who had 6 points.
But he's not a guard.
Right. Well,
and see, I've even seen where
technically listed as a guard.
Yeah, but he's not a point guard, is what I'm saying. He's not here run the offense. And I've even heard some people say, take D'Lo out of the starting lineup and start Ruri or start Vanderbilt to get more size.
They do need that, especially because when you have a guy, here's what you need. You need to start your size and you need to move LeBron a bit because LeBron can fill in as that point guard type of role if you need him to be. And I think that's what they rely on when they look at that.
Yeah. But I think both teams are going to make adjustments heading into game 2. But I think the biggest thing is Mike Malone has to move Aaron Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Because if AD is going to guard Aaron Gordon, that's fine. But you have to get him away from the basket. Because AD's 6'11", he's long, he's very active, he has good hands, and he can recover and help at the basket.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point from the Denver Nuggets, if he's not going to guard Jokic, you got to get him away from the basket. But even when he guarded Jokic took him away from the basket.
Right. Jokic was shooting far beyond the 3-point line last night for the majority of the game. So
yeah, he was making shots. But see, offensively, for both teams, you can't rely on stuff like that. Like Austin Reeves, I don't think Austin Reeves is going to score, but I don't think he's going to shoot the ball like that anymore. Well, not consistently. AD had 40-ish. Did he have 40?
He had 40, and it didn't even seem like it seemed like an effortless 40 to me, if that makes sense.
Nobody knew.
Right. It seemed like one of those things like you knew Jokic was getting his. You knew he was electric out there. AD played under the radar 40, it seems like.
Jokic looks like he plays in reverse. He looks like he's so slow and so just barely moving around.
Clunky. He's clunky.
But it's loud.
Yeah.
And see, even last night when AD was not guarding Jokic, when the Nuggets missed, who got the rebound? Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
Because AD wasn't guarding him.
Right.
See, I think AD's got to guard him.
I truthfully thought when I was making my bets, and both of my bets did hit because the over ended up hitting. Nuggets money line we knew was going to hit. But I thought the AD Jokic matchup was going to be much more of a bloodbath underneath than what it was.
I don't think AD.
You don't think he matches up that well?
Yes, but I don't think he wants it.
Fair.
Because
Who would?
Because it has seemed like in the past when AD loses his matchup, he doesn't play well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care who you are. Last night, if you guarded Jokic, you would have lost the matchup.
And here's what I also think. Look at what happened in the NCAA women's basketball tournament with Caitlin Clark. Let's compare her at the moment, just for this analogy, to Nikola Jokic. The Lakers are going into this knowing Jokic is getting his points. They're knowing that he's going to do this. So what else can we do on the court to adjust and make sure no one else is adding to that? AD, if we know he's mentally not going to be playing his best, guarding Jokic and getting torn apart, then they're going to set him back and not make that look like it's all a his fault type of thing. They're going to make that more of a team responsibility, right? So if that's what they need to do to win, or at least play to the capabilities of keeping it close, then can you blame them?
It's a lot. I think Jokic. I think AD's got to guard Jokic. I really do. I know Rory did well for them last night, but again, it's because of a lot because of Aaron Gordon being right there. And I'm not taking anything away from Rory because he did get up in him. He was physical. He did play well. But he had the help. AD, there's a 7-footer that wants to block everything back behind you, head hunting. That helps you play better defense. Mm-hmm. But at the very same time, on the other side, Jamal Murray has got to be better. His fouls were atrocious.
I thought he was going to be more of a presence last night than what he
scored well. He scored the ball well. But see, me, if I'm Denver, I'm trying to figure out a way to get LeBron to guard Michael Porter more.
Mm-hmm.
Because Michael Porter is going to run.
Right.
He's going to rim run. He's going to knock down shots. And we all know LeBron takes plays off to save himself for offense. So does AD. But the Nuggets don't do that. And the Nuggets have so much.
And that's why I think you really saw that in the beginning of the game as well, and why they took up such a big lead. I know we're running out of time here. Just really quickly, Celtics and Heat. Heat are at +8 right now in this one. I think it's a bit too high, and I was grabbing that. But I want to go to you for what your value is in this first matchup tonight.
I think the Celtics are going to win this series.
Fair. Game 1.
I think the Celtics are going to win game 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Celtics are going to be in for more of a fight than they're expected.
Absolutely.
They might still win it in 5 games. But, there's a lot of no-name, undrafted, who the hell is that guy on the Miami roster? And these guys play with a chip on their shoulder. They play with oomph. They play with spite.
They've got great defense. They've been playing fantastic defensively.
Yep. And I think, even though he's not the same guy, I think Kevin Love has been a big deal for them.
Absolutely.
Just that veteran leader. He's a winner. He's got gold medals. He's got a ring. And much like, and this isn't to throw shade, but Jimmy Butler is a playoff player.
Absolutely.
Unlike other guys. Jimmy Butler, 22, 23 a game, 22, 23, 8 and 6 throughout the season.
Consistent.
Yeah, throughout the season. Mm-hmm. But then when the playoffs come, he's like 30, 12, and 9. Right. He ups the ante. And Jimmy Butler is one of the hardest playing players in the league. Mm-hmm. And Jimmy Butler figures it out. And also, Spo is really good at his adjustments. Going zone, making the swaps, sending in Duncan Robinson, sending in whoever. We need shooting. We need this. You two swap. Spo coaches very well. He coaches very well, and not knocking the talent of the Heat. I think if Spo was coaching the Sixers, they would have won that series.
Fair enough. And that just goes to prove the point about all the coaching that we talked about in the beginning of this show toward the middle. And Tim Earl backing the fact that my +8 looked pretty good for the Miami Heat in my Mearsy Minute. Since 1988, teams coming off a Game 7 win are 33-52 and Game 1 straight up. Take the Heat +8.5/ the money line over at +320. If you can get plus money on the Miami Heat right now, in Game 1 at least, against the Celtics, who are going to be in for a dogfight, especially against this Miami defense, especially like a guy like Jimmy Butler and what he can get, I find a ton of value in doing that. Thank you so much, Cam, for stopping by. This was great. We had so much NBA insight and headlines to talk about today. Everyone, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Bet Win Repeat is live Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, and we're here to talk all things major happening in sports and, of course, giving you picks for your sports betting needs. Don't forget as well, we will have free picks up on our YouTube page as well as premium picks up on the site. Use promo code MLB to save yourself 20% off when you go to find those picks on our website as well. Thank you so much for stopping by, Cam. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This is Bet, Win, Repeat.